Hello, hello, hello. Hello, my CNC brothers and sisters. Hopefully, put in the chat that you can hear me. I have a new headset. Hi, Paul. Doing good. Can you hear me? Can you hear what I'm saying? I need someone to give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Hey, Joe. All right. So you can't hear me. I see a thumbs up. Type in yes, I can hear you. Okay, good. Chris, thank you. Thank you. You know, the funny thing is when I'm, the eyes don't work so great anymore, so I gotta bug my head into the computer to read the comments. So anyway, what I want to share and talk about tonight and take questions is about CNC business. And the table is wobbly on my floor here. So I want to address the idea of CNC business, and whoever is in business, I want to, or trying to get into business, I want to try to talk about that a little bit, because like in the CNC Entrepreneurs Facebook group, I see it all the time. People are wondering a lot of things. What should they sell? What kind of prices should they sell? What venue should they go to? Why isn't it working? They're having trouble making sales. And so that's what I want to address tonight on this Saturday evening. I was going to go to see my grandkids, but didn't do that. Before we start, I want to share with you something that I received in the mail from Jack, one of our CNC brothers. And so I don't know what the name is, but hi. So Jack, every once in a while I receive these cool things in the mail from our brothers and sisters. And this week I got this in the mail, made on, what's up, Patrick? Made on a CNC and a CNC router, a CNC laser, and on a 3D printer. And it's all combined. And this, when I received this, it totally floored me. So it's a beautiful little lamp, right? And if you look at the top, it's engraved with the IDC Woodcraft logo. Hey, by the way, how do you like my new addition to the shop? American flag there. I have a world flag as well that I'm going to put up in here too. So let's see if I can show you what made this, what we do as CNCers that makes the difference in the world, in people, where we can touch them so deeply. So I'm trying to adjust the light on this. There you go. It's got a little slider. This is, I think they call it lithography, lithography, whatever. So Jack took a picture off of, I think, or somewhere. I've got this video, and you can see there's me, like one of my grandsons. That's Hunter. Another me hanging over the long mill, and there's me with Gabriel. So yeah, I just so this is 3D printed, by the way, and so I have no idea how to do it, but I want to do it. But heck, I haven't even got my CO2 laser up and running yet because I'm wrapping up some videos. So so first, this is public acknowledgement to Jack for sending this to me. Like I acknowledge everybody who sends something to me. It's so heartwarming. And so this is the whole idea of what business is about, is to have a personal impact at a really deep level on people. Um, if you saw my video earlier in the week where I had a little rant and rave, and it talked about how people talk about the bigger brand bits in that are out there, the router bits, aside from what I do and what Cody's Cadence does, Sky One. I think RIP is another family business. I think Bits and Bits is another family business. Um, so the underlying thing with that is when if we look inside, I'm talking about business and how you want to see your customer and understand what's going on inside of them, is you want to, when you're dealing with in business and you're out buying something, you go to Walmart and it's just you go buy something, you pick it out, you get to the checkout counter, and if you're lucky, somebody's there to help you, and they're fairly mechanical because that's the world that they're in, right? And it's not very meaningful. We're just there to get something we need. But we all have a deeper need, all of us. And that deeper need is largely ignored by the world around us in business and corporate society, even in most retail. And so we want to, when we come into a niche in our business, right? And a niche is not making everything under the sun like we all want to do because we're all ADHD. We have so many ideas. Hey JJ, we all have so many ideas that we just want to make everything, and we have to discipline ourselves. And the first thing we have to do is say what first of all, what's important to me that I want to be involved in, right? That makes me feel good for being involved in it, and then once we identify that, we narrow down and we look for the niche that's going to resonate with that, right? Because us as CNC creators have this amazing craft that we can make things that are going to have such a deep impact on people. So when you're out doing anything, buying anything, there's very little interaction with you at any deeper levels other than let's get the transaction done so you can do whatever you can do. In CNC business, we all do this. Most of us do this out of our house. And so there's a certain sense of not just we own a business, but it's also within our personal space. And so this is why I want you to look inside of you. Why have you gotten inside of CNC business in the first place? And once you start to understand that within inside of yourself, you can start to understand what the customer really wants. And it goes at very deep levels. At the end of the day, we want to feel understood. We want people to understand what we feel, what makes us feel important, and we want to feel heard, listened to, and we want to be recognized. And so this is, if you can tap into this, it's a psychology, right? It's the psychology that we all have. And if you can tap into the psychology that we all want to be meaningful in the world and feel like how do I put this? That we mean something in the world. We all want that. And so when you can do that for your customer, right, then you're doing something. You might have heard me say this before because I've said it many times in the videos I've created. Your customer doesn't really care about you until you can solve a problem for them or a desire, an emotional need. Many of our brothers and sisters make carve the American flag. Why do they do that? Why do so many people do that? Hey, Steve, so many people carve the American flag because it has so many levels of importance to us. And I'm not narrowing down to U.S., right? It doesn't matter where you're at in the world. This is an example that the American flag symbolizes a deep sense of belonging in a society that has a lot of clout, freedom, the freedom of choice, power, and for other deeper reasons. There's a brotherhood inside of that has stemmed from way back when. And so the point of this is this is deeply meaningful to us, and this is why so many people make things like American flags, and it's why so many people buy them, right? And then it's when you honor the flag and that person with the flag, and on that flag is something that's so relevant to them, whether it's a firefighter, a soldier, a policeman. Someone was talking to me the other day. He's a linesman. He runs electrical wires, right? And he makes American flags that has a picture of a guy climbing a phone pole, right? He's a lineman. So there's pride in all these little areas, and so this is what you want to understand when it comes to business in the CNC world is to you have to understand what's important to the customer, and we have to cater to that, right? But we can't truly, genuinely cater to the customer's desires unless we understand it within ourselves. So if you're trying to start a business and it's under the pretense I've got to make money, right? Inside that, behind that is I don't have enough money, right? So that's the actual true focus. And what happens is we're internalizing, we're looking back on ourselves. I need, instead of what the customer needs. So one of the foundations of growing a CNC business is, number one, letting go, literally letting go of the idea of the need for money to solve whatever financial issues if you're in that need space. Literally, you have to turn it completely around and say, I know that my business is going to work because my focus is not on what I need, but it's on what the customer wants, the value that you can add to them, right? The more value you add to them, the better you will do. This is so fundamental in business. And that's why when I created that video, the I'm pissed video, that it resonated with so many people because we live in this world of an impersonal interaction with businesses, and even in our jobs, right? When it comes down to it, we're kind of just a number of the jobs, right? And there's not that much personal. You're a person that's helping us. We're part of the collective, and so when that does get brought up, right, it's just everybody's like, yes, somebody finally said it, right? So kind of getting away from that back into business. Well, it's not getting away from it because this is the underlying stuff that many people feel that people don't hear them, don't understand them, don't listen to them. So really the whole thing is about understanding what your customer wants. And the other thing I want to address is clarity. Most people don't teach this in business. And so that's why I'm always preaching get into a niche. Because if you are trying to start a business, CNC, and make the amazing projects that you do, and you're making a widget, and a gadget, and you're making all these different things that don't connect to each other, then what you're doing is you're making stuff that is in so many different targets. It creates a sense of confusion, right? For you, because you don't really know what market you are in. And when you do that, your customer doesn't truly know what market you are in. And the reason this is important is because when you get into your niche and you start to hone in, number one, you start to learn what's important to your customer because you can pay attention to what they're saying in that niche. Um, in the CNC world, I can give you an example of my business, right? So most of us are coming towards retirement or in retirement or are well past retirement. And so there's several different things that are going on inside that we don't realize, particularly for those who are going towards retirement and just crossing over the bridge into retirement. And that is that idea that we're not going to matter in the world in the way that we used to matter, like in jobs. We identified with the job and we're going to now retire and that job's not going to be anymore there anymore. And now we've lost that sense of identity and belonging in that. And that creates a sense of loss. So we have to find something else. And so we find CNC, but there's a deeper reason why we find CNC. And that deeper reason is because we were in the cog and we didn't have a lot of freedom to be and do and express who we want to be. And so now we have that liberty, once we're out of the workforce, to say, I'm just going to do my thing, and we want it. It's important to us because we feel that sense of creativity, and that sense of creativity is something that's deep within us. We all feel it. Whenever, if you feel like something's missing in life, it's because we are holding back a certain sense of self-expression, and when we can unveil that self-expression, then we can take off in the world. We find more meaning and purpose in life, and we feel more fulfillment because we're doing something that's really deep-seated in us. And in our case, it is creating some amazing stuff on our CNC routers or lasers or 3D printers or what have you. So the reason I just went through this whole spiel is because your customer's the same way in many different areas. Whether they're getting married, whether they're having a baby, whether they want to ride a bike across the country, or their bike, they like to race bikes. It doesn't really matter. You find the thing where people are, we're going to say, irrationally attached to, right? When it's an irrational attachment, then you have found a market that has a lot of energy to it. One of my love is the world is flat group, right? Because it's so irrational, but they will cling to it so tightly. So there's a lot of emotion behind that to reinforce what they're trying to hold on to. And so you can cater into that if you can understand the psychology and sell products that are the world is flat and have all kinds of fun with it. So this is kind of what I just wanted to share with you tonight is CNC business. You will do well when you find a niche and you take your time in that niche to learn about the niche, and at the same time take your time to learn about the craft that you're learning. Sometimes we want to get them all knocked out at one time, and we have to be patient. The business is not something that it just happens. If you want to have success in business, you have to be patient, focused, and driven, and you can't steer off the path. We will always kind of do this, but we always have to come back into our niche and stay in that niche. If we start going, oh, this is not working, and then we go off to another path, we haven't stayed in the niche long enough, right? Or we haven't gotten a mentor to assess what we're doing, to understand if we are looking at it the right way. That's why I have a mentor. Who wants to know a secret? Make a comment, put yes about me and my mentor. Put a yes in the comments. All right. Here's my secret. I pay $35,000 a year so I get mentored by a guy who makes almost $1 billion a year. And the reason I do that, that's my secret. The reason I do that is because I don't know what I don't know in order to grow my business, right? And when there's successful people out there, they know something that we don't know. If we're not successful or where we want to be, then we don't know something. And so we have to find the people that understand where we want to get to. One of the things that was taught to me, this all ties back into CNC business, by the way. But the reason that I'm saying this when it relates to CNC business is because we have to identify with ourselves here. The more we know ourselves, the better you'll do in your niche in your business. Because once you understand your own emotional drivers that are related to that business, then and understand why they're there, then you can talk at that emotional level. I'll give you another secret. People never buy our CNC projects. That sounds like a play on words, but they don't buy the CNC projects. They buy the meaning and feeling behind the project. So I hope that makes sense. So we're going to come back to this um, mentoring thing in business. We don't know what we don't know. Okay, so if if you're in a business or trying to get in a business, we'll just say if you're in business and it's not doing so well, or you want to get into a business and you don't really know how to get started, right? It's because we don't know. We don't. We have to take the time to learn what we don't know. If our focus is um, on our own needs, then we're not receptive to what's going to help our business grow. We're not receptive to learning the things we don't know. I had one of my other mentors say once, he said, the learners, those who keep learning, will inherit the earth. Where the learned, or the ones who feel like they have already learned everything they need to know and just keep going with what they know, will be beautifully equipped for a world that no longer exists. And how that's relevant to you in business is we are in the world of social media. We have Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and God knows what else is out there, right? And for people in our age bracket, we scoff at that, right? It's like this is the stupidest stuff in the world, and we do see stupid posts on on there's particularly on TikTok. However, we get in there. Most of us do get into like Facebook to get guidance from other creators. So we are adapting to social media. You are on social media at this very moment watching me. So so the idea of not liking social media uh, is something that backfires. This is the world today. We do not have a choice. We do not have a choice of whether technology is going to affect our lives. I don't like social media. I think most of the time it's full of baloney, except our CNC family, because I get to see all these amazing projects and I get to help people, right? It's fulfilling to me. And the greatest reward to me is when people post their pictures, especially of stuff that I have files I've given them or something, right? But just knowing that there's been some kind of influence to get them from level zero to level wherever they're at is so rewarding. So I want to read a couple of comments here. Yeah, education. So Lazio, you said education is everything, and it is. What's I want to say what's more important is learning skill, and not just learning the skill, but learning how to apply the skill. For example, IDC Woodcraft YouTube channel. If you've seen any of my my newest videos, I mean, I'm almost embarrassed to leave them up there still, right? But I just kept going, and kept going, and slowly getting better. And eventually got better equipment. I still have a ways to go with equipment, but We just have to go. We have to make stuff. When it comes to CNC projects, and we feel like it's not good enough, most of the time, the potential buyers are not going to see the defects that we see. We're being our own worst critic when we're not seeing the message that we're creating for them. Right? There, in this thing that Jack sent me, there could be errors all over it. However, I don't see it. I see the personalization of a business. I see the personalization of these lithographs that he created. That's what hit home. That's what made me cry when I opened this box. That sent it. The Jeep laser thing that was sent to me. Right? That's because I'm a Jeeper. Right? And Doug, I think it was, that sent that to me. And it hit home in many different ways. So, I don't know, I kind of got off track here. But there's the education thing, right? What I said, though, is important. Don't beat yourself up on your projects. Know that you're always learning and you're taking it to the next level. And your customer doesn't see the little defects. They see the whole intention behind it. That's what's moving them. That's the feeling that they're buying. Ethan, you have 2 quotes, not really business. You saw, sorry, I have to get like close to my monitor because my eyes aren't so good these days. I had along the laser beam. Yes, I have the laser beam. Do you have a grid spoil board design for the 30 by 30? Yes, you can get that off of Etsy. So the Etsy store, just search, go to Etsy, and the best way you can find it is type in long mill spoil board and search, and you'll find it. Dust shoe for MK CNC's bad design. Dust shoe. I made this dust shoe a long time ago when I had my Bob's CNC, and I use it on occasion. This was used, it's got a baffle on the bottom to stop that down blast, so it keeps the sawdust from blowing everywhere, and it redirects the air back up these flutes here. I made this because I need to create videos to show you how to do things. Skills are worthless if you can't apply. Yes, you're right. Business is a balance. Yeah. Well, I have to laugh at that. Business is a balance. Business is something where there's 2 things in business. This is a good lesson. Thanks for bringing that up. In business, we make stuff for other people, and that consumes our time. So when you get so busy, like I am, I literally don't have a social life because all my time is either spent in this or with my grandkids. Although the first week of October, I'm flying to Vancouver. I'll be there for 5 days, and so I won't be dealing with business at that time. I'll be going to a summit. It's part of my high level. It's an advisory group, business advisory group. I will be the poorest person in there. Proximity is power, right? I totally forgot what I was saying. So remind me. Oh, business is balance. Yeah. When you're running your own business, if it becomes all consuming for you to have a successful business, there is no balance, right? There just isn't. You have to, in my shoes, I literally have to force myself away from my business to give myself some downtime. But that's because I'm so laser focused to do it. But yeah, you have to, you want to try to find the balance. But the truth of the matter is, what I'm going with that is the balance in business. There's no such thing as life balance. If you're running a business, you're always trying to balance the scale. You're always trying to do it. And it's always going like that. Okay? Because something suffers, you've got to give it the attention. The business, that means you can't spend as much time with your family and friends or have your off time chilling out. And then you step away to spend time with family and friends, and that happens. Now you've got problems over here again. So it's you're balance, you're going back and forth on the balance. Um, so Jake said my sound is horrible. Is my sound bad? Somebody say something. I'm using a new headset. I'm trying to make sure it is set up properly. How clearly can you hear me? Distorted. Let's try this. Okay, testing 1, 2, 3, 4. How's that? How's it sounding now? 1, 2, 3, 4. Like I'm in a tunnel. Okay, well, I'll have to figure out how to work with these things. I do appreciate that, though. Distorted at times. These are supposed to be noise canceling headsets so that I can run the router and talk to you at the same time. So I'll talk louder and hopefully the headphones can pick it up right. Or maybe, hang on. Never mind, I'll figure it out next time. Okay, well, that's kind of so. Bring some questions to me about business. We'll do it. Okay, let's try this. Hopefully, this will work. Can you hear me? Give me a yes or a no. 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, three, four. Okay. All right. I'll have to learn how to work with these. These things cost $300. All right. Okay. So I want to take questions from you about business and your CNC business. The webcam mic doesn't work well at all. So bring on some questions. If you're struggling with business, Etsy versus Facebook versus online store. Okay, let's start with Ethan's question. So Etsy, a lot of people complain about Etsy and their cut that they take off of the sale. Well, Etsy's entitled to a cut because they provide a platform for a lot of people to create their stuff. Now, Etsy is a great proving ground. Some people do really well on it. And what you want to do on Etsy, if you want to do well on Etsy, you want to study what specifically they are doing in Etsy that makes them do it so well. Number one, it may be someone who's just selling so much stuff that they've got so much ground covered and they got the manpower behind them to cover that may be one thing. One in Etsy, you really want to have a tight focus. I use the cutting board thing all the time. There's a buttload of cutting boards on Etsy, and Etsy does have an advertising media, but you have to study it. My rule of thumb that I want to pass to you. So we're going to finish up this Etsy versus Facebook versus online. First of all, choose one and stick with it until you master it. Okay, you don't try to keep hitting all three because, like I said earlier, if you're making a whole bunch of different things that aren't related to each other, you're creating confusion. If you're trying to learn all the platforms at one time, you're confusing yourself and you're not getting good at one of them. So Etsy is one. Facebook is another one. Facebook, you generally It really depends on what you're selling and how you're selling it. Some people do really well on Facebook Marketplace, but Facebook Marketplace is a regional method. So it's kind of like a Craigslist that doesn't have reach. Whereas you can market on Facebook. The best thing you can do, and I recommend this to anybody, if you have a Facebook account, is when you start making stuff, start getting it out there on Facebook, on your personal feed. Let people know that you make this stuff. If you do it enough, one of your friends eventually will come to you and ask you to make something, which will be a paid job. Now, online, when you're saying online, I'm assuming you're talking about a website. I personally think everybody has to have a website because we are all going to Google to search for stuff. And often that's the first place we go to. So you want to have a website and you want to understand, at least to a certain degree, something called SEO. You probably have heard of it. It's called search engine optimization. And basically what that is if you're making American flags for the services, we'll say military personnel, then your text, your body text in your description of that product needs to be using the words that they are looking for and the key words. So American flag, Army, Navy, Marine, Air Force. Um, this is important because Google will start to index your description in wherever you do it, whether it's on Etsy, whether it's Facebook's a little bit different, or online. It's all going to do it by the words. So you want to be very specific. This is why you need to get to know a niche, so you can know the lingo and terminology they're using and typing and searching in. So at the end of the day, you always want to have that ground, that home base, which is a website. You can get them set up for free if you can't afford someone to build you a website. Um, and you can drive traffic. Eventually, once you start to get recognition, you can start generating word of mouth. But you always want to make sure that there is a way for them to find you, and that's why always put a QR code on your products and make sure that your customer knows there's a QR code on your product. And that QR code, when they scan it, it's going to go directly back to your website. Okay, and that opens you the door up for the rest of the time you're in business. That if a year down the road somebody sees this feather inlay and they fall in love with it and they ask the person, "Where'd you get it?" "I don't know. I got it at some guy at a craft show, but he told me the QR code was here." Right? So that way you can gain a potential customer you've never had before. Right. So comments are kind of flying by, but that's okay. So Facebook, here's the way you do this. You can put stuff on Etsy, expect that they will take their cut. Don't let the idea that everybody else who's making a cutting board is charging $40, so you can't charge $250. The customer that's going to buy a $250 cutting board is very different from the one that's buying a $40 cutting board. They are people who are expect to pay more money, right? So if if you feel like you're competing with other people, you're hanging out in the crowd that's all competing with each other. But if you bring your prices and your pictures that you create for your Etsy store, right? Pictures are so important because it's the first thing we look at. We're visual people, so your picture, you really got to be thoughtful about your pictures, and study what other people are doing, and ask yourself, what are they not doing? So Etsy, get on Etsy. Etsy's a great place to experiment and to learn what the successful people are doing. Facebook is that's where you get all your friends to start seeing what you're doing. And online is the home base where people can find you at. Okay. Google will index anything. Let's see. So let me check my mic settings. See, I'm not that tech savvy. I'm set up on my headphones. So I'm already set up on my headphones, so I'm not sure what else I can do here. I can try to talk directly to my computer. It says that still learning how to get all this stuff set up here. Okay. Shouldn't be using the webcam mic. Hang on. Bear with me for a second because I want to figure out what's going on with the mic. Yeah, I can't figure it out right now. My computer says I'm using the right microphone, but who knows? Okay, let's move on. Got some other. Yeah, wish you were here to help. Okay, so can you hear me right now? 1, 2, 3. Cutting boards are thicker. Hear me good enough. Okay, I'll just keep working on it. Give me another business question. Website hosting costs. So shipping costs, etc. So Darren Smith, you're asking about website hosting costs. So if money is an issue, you got free platforms all over the place. You've got well, as far as hosting, GoDaddy's Wix have free hosting. It's basic service, but at least it gives you a home base to work from. A shipping costs, well, that's a different animal. You always want to either charge for shipping or wrap your shipping cost up in your packaging or in the price of it. When I ship stuff, I charge a shipping cost, and I always just add $1 because I got to pay for the labeling, I got to pay for the ink for the service, the shipping service that I use, and it covers a little bit of my time, right? But so don't ever. We've all been ridiculously charged for shipping. We know that they're just raking us over the coal. All right, let's see what else we got. Squarespace, yeah. So I use DreamHost. It's there's an annual fee, and it's got nice setups. It's a little more complicated to work with. So as you've got your own website on a Raspberry Pi. Oh, one thing about websites. So you always want to make sure your website is optimized so that it works on a cell phone too. Most website builders will give you the option to see what it looks like on a computer and what it looks like on a cell phone. And so you always want to check the two to make sure that it's coming up good on the cell phone as well. Okay, so here, Jack just said this. Hi, Jack. By the way, thank you again very much. So this here probably we'll say it was £2 when all is said and done. And he said he paid $4 for it. Okay, but shipping, you always have to recoup your shipping. Otherwise, you're spending you're spending your overhead. Your overhead has to get wrapped up in what you do. So don't try to break it down too bad, like an accountant would. Just don't do that, especially if you're running solo. Tim said, practice, build value, and price well. There was a Facebook post in the CNC Entrepreneurs Facebook group. And if you're not in the CNC Entrepreneurs Facebook, make sure you get into that. But this is about a week ago where somebody was haggling with the guy on his CNC project, and you can't go down. Know your worth of your product and charge that. And don't you're not a car salesman. You have spent time creating a beautiful project, right? So you want to make sure that you get the worth. What you are doing is you are exchanging something valuable, emotionally valuable, with them in exchange for dollar value. And they will not buy until they see more emotional value in whatever you have than the dollar value you're asking. If I can re-say that again, they have if you're selling this for $100, which by the way you could sell for $100, especially when you show them. If you're selling for something for $100, and my perspective is it's only worth 95, I'm not going to buy. And I will not change that sense of $95 until you show me that it's worth more. And you can't show me it's worth more by saying, yeah, but I put all this effort into this thing. I don't give a shit. I want emotional value. So this is why you need to know your customer. This is why you need to turn back and say, what do you need? Or in my case, I'm asking people, how can I help you? What you're doing is now you're going to ask them, why did you look at this in the first place? What did it remind you of? Right? Now they're going to start creating an image in their mind. And just from that image, which is going to have an emotional association, the value of that is going to start to increase in their mind. Okay? And then when it gets over $100, and if you keep doing it, you keep talking to them about that value is going to increase. They're going to start thinking, I'd pay $130 for it. Hell yeah, I'll pay $100 for it. Is this making sense when it comes to why it's so important to understand your niche? Let's see if we can find some questions here. Don't haggle. Yes, don't haggle. What did Tim say? Tim, you just sold an end grain cutting board for $545. That was 18 inches by 18 inches. Tim, you get a happy dance, brother. Okay, so this is something that someone, he found a market, he made the right product for the right market, and was able to get a very good dollar value out of it. So this comment alone is something for you to take to the bank if you are making stuff and you're keeping the prices down when you know that they should be higher. And you will go out there and you'll see other people making end grain cutting boards that are bigger that are selling them for $100, $80, $50. And he found a customer that's willing to pay $545 for it. So, Tim, I want you to email me and I want you to tell me about that experience, how you found that customer, how you're positioning yourself, because that's a really good thing to relate another CNC creator story. Yeah, enthusiasm. Lazio, you said enthusiasm. Yes. Yeah, your enthusiasm will make a difference because your energy brings their energy up. When you show enthusiasm about what's important to them is when the value of whatever you have will start to increase. And if you show enough enthusiasm for them, they will fall into this thing called rule of reciprocity. It's such a cool rule. The rule of reciprocity is when you give someone enough value that they feel like they owe it back to you. And the only way that they can get it back to you is by purchasing from you. And that's why we have to give value. We have to care about them as much as they care about themselves. Never be apologetic, Lazio, about your price being, yeah, don't apologize about your pricing. If you're in a market and people keep not wanting to buy it, okay, whatever's happening in business externally, if people are not buying, that's simply results of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, which is usually up here. We have to become a valuable business in ourselves before we can have a valuable business to the rest of the world. So we have to see ourselves worth more. It's a sense of personal worth. And when you have that, then you will not only start to move away from the people that don't value themselves. If they don't value themselves, they're not going to value what you create. And you will move away from that. You'll start finding people that value you the way you value yourself. And you will start selling to them. What's my thoughts on shows, like trade shows, craft festivals? So there's two thoughts. The first one is understanding the demographic. One CNC brother some time ago was going to one where he couldn't get more than $40 for cutting boards. So he went to another craft show that was about 2 hours away and was able to get $85 for it. Because the demographic of the show, the people that actually went there, was a completely different mindset of people. Okay, it was maybe higher. They have more worth. They're willing to spend more money. They take more pride in their environment. So one is the demographic of the craft shows. You want to understand the demographic. The second thing is you want to understand the nature of the craft show. So if it's just like an ad hoc type of craft show where just anybody comes for any reason, it's household pets, bike racing, whatever. If there's no rhyme or reason, then it's going to be hit or miss because there's no clarity or focus of what the fair or show is about. So the best thing to do is understand what the show, the core theme of the show is, and then make sure that you are working within that core theme in some way, shape, or form. So, that your products represent that. Dater, what's going on? Go to shows with high population density. That's a good one. What else we got? Garrett, I don't think you are on the highest mic. No, I know. That's why I'm kind of yelling to you right now because I'm not sure what's going on. This mic is turned on, but it's not the one that's working. So I don't know what's happening. I do apologize. Anyway, so that's what we've got. What else is on down here? Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate it. I'll keep working on it. It's going live is a little bit different for me. So, yeah, so I've tried 2 microphones. Anyway, so I hope I gave you guys some tips here. There, tapping my mic. I know this mic is not the one that's picking up. Otherwise, you'd be able to hear me fine. How about this one? Okay. Well, here, I'll talk like that. How's that? Okay, so that's the microphone that's working, and it's not a high quality microphone. Okay, so I'll get a little closer to it. How do you advertise this live event? I didn't. I just went live. I've already gone to sound settings. See, we all need each other. So I'm trying to change my settings. It's on headset. Where's my microphone? Oh! 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm there, but it's not showing the headset. One, two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, it's not showing the headset microphone. Yeah, Jake. Okay. Well, anyway, I'll just keep talking to this. I got the cam on still. Yes, no, yes, no. One, two, 1, 2. Yep. Okay. All right. Live videos. That's why I suggested Facebook Live because, well, I'm on my laptop. Okay. I'm only plugged in. I only got one computer. Okay. What other business questions do you guys have? I'll just talk directly to the camera. I'll get a lot closer to it. No, I can't. I don't even need this on. My ears are all sweaty. It's like 100 degrees in the shop right now. All right. So what other business questions do we have? Scroll up. Yeah. So that one of the things when it comes to marketing your product, if so, Tim said regarding this cutting board, he is in CNC. Nicholas Mills CNC is land $1 million homes. Okay, so he's in that neighborhood. Okay, so he is land. He's in an area where people are spending that kind of money anyway, right? So $500 cutting boards are just par for the course. For people who aren't connected to those areas, it's going to take a little bit of time to get connected into that because you got to learn where those areas are, how to reach those demographics. One of the thing is you got to know where your customer's hanging out at. If you're selling cutting boards at a at a at a craft market that is focused on quilting, you're going to do crap, right? But if it's focused on kitchen stuff, you'll do a bit better, but you're going to be in competition with other people. So you have to find a way to set yours apart. Like give free food samples at the same time. Educate people. This is a part of giving value. If you're doing a show and somebody's talking to you, you want to give them value uh, of something that they're curious about uh, that relates around your product. Cornhole boards sell great, but you want to narrow down into your specific market. Because everybody and their brother buys cornholes that's having barbecues in the backyard. So you need to know how to cater to those people. All right. Well, I've been on for a while, and unfortunately, I do apologize for the audio. So I'll work it. I'm constantly struggling with the audio issues because I use so many different connective devices that it just kind of throws me off. So Lazio, there's a lady who is in town who's upgrading to a laser. She markets all kinds of things for women, and they are her number one source of income. Yeah, it makes perfect sense. A woman who gets in this space can do really well if she keeps herself centered in her focus, in her niche. Women buy emotionally, men buy for pride. Pride is still an emotion. But you want to understand what that pride is underneath of it. Okay, what's driving the pride? Once you understand what's driving the pride, then you can get into it. If it's someone who's into NRA, and you're the one that's going to say, "Hell yeah, First Amendment," right? And you're talking to them, you're scoring points with them, even if you don't believe in the First Amendment, or is it the Second Amendment? Sorry. Guys buy toys, can't have enough. Yep. Why do you think they buy CNC machines? It's a new toy to figure out how to have fun with. Yeah, I know. I missaid it. It's a second. All right. Well, wait a minute. Throat's getting scratchy. Even despite the audio, I hope that I was able to get something across here, gave you some food for thought when it comes to CNC business. That your business is not about you. The other thing to remember is you are not your business, right? You are acting as a medium to create something for other people that's meaningful to them, that's generating revenue for you. But no one cares about your business. They care about what satisfies them. Okay, whatever emotional need it is. Tim says the First Amendment is about talking and not being heard. The freedom of speech. It's kind of like my audio tonight, right? All right. Well, I am going to check out. So I thank everyone for coming here. Did you get something out of this? Put a thumbs up in the video. Let me see if you got something out of this. So I can see how many thumbs ups I got right now. It's 10. There's 23 people. Oh, someone just gave a thumbs up. Here, I'll even show you. So right now, that's my screen. Let's see if we can get in there. There's 13 thumbs up. So if I gave you something that helps you, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Because Garrett is watching you. All right, folks. Thank you for this. And I have one more question. So I am going to start doing regular lives, and I want to know what days are good. Saturday night's not a good time to be doing it, I don't think. What is a good day to do lives? Lives I'll do Vectric and CNC. and I'll do business lives. But what are some good days for you? I'm thinking probably Wednesday evening. I'm in Eastern Standard Time, by the way. So I'm waiting for comments to tell me when is the best time to do lives. Uh-oh. Did I lose connectivity? There we go. Evening of my choice. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, so I am going to get back to a video I am working on. And then tomorrow, Saturday, okay. Then tomorrow I'm going to my see my grandkids and my daughter. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for spending Saturday evening with me. And I will talk to you all later. Ciao.